Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast with myself and my good friend over here, Miguel, Coach Santa, the smartest mind in baseball, and it will be proven one day. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. But what's going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all joining us today. We got some things that we're going to talk about, and we hope that we can do it in a way that's entertaining, enlightening, and informative. And fun at the same time, because of course, that's what we do. But first, let's get some of the particulars out of the way. Of course, if you have any opinions or thoughts of anything that we're talking about today, give us a call at 669-275-0323. Let me slow that down for the people that don't know how to listen too fast. 669-275-0323. Yes, indeed. So, y'all know how I like to start every show. Y'all know how it is. I like to ask my people, how you been, brother?
Hey, sir.
How's
Well, I
it
can
going?
hear myself. That was really weird. Very well. Thank you very much. As of 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I have officially purchased our first home in the city of Baltimore.
Okay. People.
Baltimore.
People. I like Baltimore, man. Baltimore's a beautiful city. Beautiful people, great food, great
Yes.
parties. Been to a number
And
of different types of clubs in Baltimore. It's really, really nice.
speaking of clubs, there's an actual 18-hole golf course 11 minutes from the new location.
What?
Yes.
Which,
It's
which course is that?
I think it's called Curtis Park, if I'm not mistaken. But
Okay. Well, I guess well, you don't have to play it and let me know how it is and if it's worth coming down to play.
definitely, and when you visit the new studio, since this will be my last show at this current location here in Bowie,
Whoa,
uh,
when y'all moving?
Sunday.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I ain't wasting no time. I can dig
Nope.
it. Yeah, why waste time, right? You settle. Let's get in there.
There you
Paying
go.
for
There you go. So we're soliciting anybody want to help the move. We can pay you in hip hop chicken and crab cakes.
hip hop chicken, a staple down
Have you
here.
have you have you eaten there?
I've never eaten that hip hop chicken. No.
Every single person. There are three people that have told me about hip hop chicken. Neither one know each other. They all said the exact same thing. Allegedly, they put this seasoning on it that's like a white powder. They said you have to try the chicken with the white crack. That's exactly how all three of them said it.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I wouldn't eat it.
I'll let you know how it is, though.
You can let me know how it is. I don't want it, but you can let me know how it is. That's scary to me.
It's
That
a
is scary.
seasoning.
Yeah, I know, but anything can be seasoning when it's in a powder form, can it?
Touche.
That means it could be. Well, anyway,
It could be. It could be. It could be laundry detergent, like the powdered the laundry detergent for all you.
right?
You know.
It could be. It very well could be. Um, we got a lot to get into today. I'm scrolling through the notes here. We got some baseball points, some football points. I do want to mention a couple basketball things going on. Of course, the playoffs will be coming up, starting I think next week. Actually, playoffs will be getting started because the season is just about over. I actually finally got to get to a basketball game this weekend. Um, First game I've been to since just before the pandemic. I think last game I went to was January of 2020.
Wow.
The Sixers were playing the Celtics. The Sixers won. But that was the last game I was able to get to. Um, and I took my daughter for her first ever Sixers game. She loved it. Had an awesome time. They won in blowout fashion, so it's always nice to make it happen like that. Um, Starting off, we're going to start off talking about the Phillies a little bit. They got a brand new lineup that people are excited about. And personally, Santa, I called you Santa. I mean, it's your last name, but I've never
That's a,
called you that before.
that's a first.
It is a first. Personally, Miguel, I'm not excited about the lineup. I got to be honest with you. I'm not.
What are you
I'm
not excited
trying
about?
to get excited about, but I'm not.
What are you not excited about?
Well, I feel like 2 years ago, the Phillies had what was considered to be the best lineup in baseball,
Two
and
years ago.
they just did nothing. They stunk for a good portion of the season, actually. And when I say 2 years ago, I'm talking about the year that Bryce Harper first came to the Phillies. I almost called them the Sixers and the Eagles just now.
My goodness.
Um, with Schwarber, the additions of Schwarber and Castellanos, right?
Hmm.
People are excited. Here's my thing, and you know how I think. We have similar thoughts about baseball. They have no speed in this lineup. None. Like who's your base stealer in this lineup? I
You also don't have any defense.
see, and here's the funny thing about it, and this is one of the problems I have with professional baseball and what people say about professional baseball. I feel like if you're a professional baseball player, there ain't no reason for you not to have a good glove. No reason whatsoever. Like you've made it to the pinnacle. Like why do you not have a good glove? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But the pitching is questionable to me. Why should I or anybody else be excited about this Phillies team?
I mean, here's a couple of things. The Phillies had a pretty good spring. They are hitting the ball. I think I'm more excited about the young guys coming up. So like they brought up Bryson Stott, who was
A lot of
killing it
people talking
in the
about it. Yeah.
he was killing it through the minor leagues. All three levels. I think he batted around around 300. I think totaled like 25 home runs. So I think he's going to be someone to watch. Mickey Moniak finally is kind of playing like the first pick of the draft that he was about 4 or 5 years ago. So that's kind of exciting. I like the fact that they're platooning in some spots. But I do think because when you have these big hitters, you have Schwarber, you have Harper, you have Castellanos, you also have the K's too. They swing big and they miss big. I know for most of the spring, Schwarber's been batting leadoff, which the old school traditionalist in me, you don't have your power hitter leading off, but I get like the new school kind of framework on that. Um, you know, it's still odd to me when that happens. But he works the count. He has all of the components of a leadoff hitter, just with the extra caveat of being able to hit for power. But like you said, absolutely no speed. But I think it's kind of the sign of the times where through the analytical approach to managing a game, speed is kind of like dropped from one or two to like sixth or seventh of importance.
Yes, and I think I was having this conversation actually with somebody that this team. Actually, I was having this conversation with my supervisor at work. This team with no speed has become apparent to me that
Mhm.
they're going to be built and play on analytics
And
because
they always have been.
so I feel like they have been ever since the who was the last manager? I always forget his name.
Oh, Gabe Kapler.
Gabe Kapler. I feel like they've been on that kick since the Gabe Kapler era.
Right, and I think Gabe Kapler was the first one in Philadelphia to really utilize it. I think he overdid it
Yeah.
because
So,
again, I know he was manager of the year last year in San Francisco. He gets praised for a lot of that stuff. But if you really look at the season as a whole, yes, he kind of did some of the same things that he did here in Philadelphia. However, he adjusted, because he had more of a professional coaching staff around him. But even as it got towards the playoffs, like there were certain things that he just had to, they had to hit and run a little more. They tried bunting, they tried stealing in certain situations, and granted, they came up short just because I think it was just hard to get past. Some of the talent that and they're a relatively young team transitioning, but if you really look at the whole season as a whole, he went back to some traditional aspects of the game, and that's what kind of caused them to get over the hump and get into the playoffs. Um,
you know
I,
that I'm not a big fan of the analytic. You
Right.
know, you've got me to submit to the fact that yes, it works in spots. And I think analytics have always worked in spots since the beginning of time of baseball, basketball, football, whatever the case may be. All right. But when you don't have speed in your lineup, you're telling me I'm not I'm not really planning on swiping any bases. And the concept behind it, the thought process behind it is you're risking getting an out, right?
Based on analytical data, it would appear, not that I necessarily agree, but it appears that the stolen base is too much of a risk. It's a higher risk, low probability of success for a stolen base than it is for just all of our hitters to get hits.
And I feel that that is correct, but if you have somebody, a Juan Pierre, of course I'm gonna say him first. A Juan
Your
Pierre,
Juan Pierre.
Rollins, Shane Victorino, somebody that's in the game today. That's I can't even think. Oh man, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on a couple names right now, but you have a place in the game for those type of guys. Like those type of guys can really cause problems. Um, and I know that with the teaching of the analytics and stuff comes the launch angle conversation and the exit velo conversation and all like that, getting the ball up in the air, which in my opinion, and this is not supposed to be an analytics conversation. We always do this. We always get into this.
We do.
Um, Sacrifices are also outs. So if you get the ball up in the air to try to get somebody to move runners over and they catch the ball in the air, pop up, then you risk that out? You got them over, but you produced an out too if you
Right.
sacrifice successfully.
Right. And that's why again I love, where I'm at because we're actually teaching our players about that concept that there is such thing as a good out, because we had a one, 14 I'm assistant coach for a 14U team, and you see the frustration because I think part of it is the parents are like, we want to hit, we want production, and they don't understand the concept of moving runners over and things like that. But getting the players to be okay that you, even though you did get an out, something productive happened. You know what I mean? But again, when it comes, it's just like with this is all kind of setting up for the rule change next year where shifts are going to be outlawed, right?
Mhm.
Because imagine all the hits that were taken away because of the shift. Now those hits are coming back. You know what I mean? And I think
And
for
it's a
the
rule to make the game more exciting in a sense.
but again, offense is what brings people to the stadiums, unfortunately.
Right. In every sport.
In every sport, right? So,
Yeah.
it's kind of the sign of the times, and I think this is the first time because you saw that in waves. Even before Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs, the most home runs hit ever was like 13. But it went through waves. Like there was the home run era, in the 1920s. Then it kind of dwindled. Then in the 50s, it kind of came back up. Then dwindled. Then the 70s came back up. Then it kind of dwindled. But I think offense in all sports, I think, and you're adding the gambling aspect to it, I think it's just a perfect formula now. There's no reason to go backwards. We got to keep it. We got to keep the scores, high, and we have to keep it, unpredictable, and we got to make money for everybody.
Yeah, I mean it's true. It's a conversation I hate having. It's a conversation that I'm tired of having, but we keep having it because I keep starting it. So I end up having the conversation. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. We missed talking about this probably the past few weeks. But baseball, the disparity in baseball. Okay, the disparity in baseball, and I'm gonna put this graphic up here in just a second. but I want to read it out first just to give it some drama. Okay, 2022 total payroll. The top three teams with a total payroll: Dodgers 270,158,333 dollars. Mets at number two at 249,999,999 dollars.
Just round up.
But I want to read it the way it is because they couldn't spend one more dollar. They want to put one more dollar towards that, just make it rounded up on its own. That's the Mets for you.
They're the Mets.
The Yankees 300 and or excuse me 235,940,714 dollars. Okay, top three spending teams in baseball. Now I'm going to add this graphic. Let me pull down the phone number so we can see the whole thing. The bottom three teams in baseball: the Guardians, which were formerly the Cleveland Indians, $35,600. Or excuse me, 35,600, 35,600,000. Pirates, $35,250,000, and the Orioles, $30,316,666. This is a sport with no salary cap, and I believe there is some revenue sharing, maybe.
They have a luxury tax. So remember that luxury tax, I believe this year is what, 230 million, which the Phillies went over for the first time in the history of forever.
And
So
still don't
base
have any speed.
say again?
And still don't have any speed.
Correct. Um so basically like the Dodgers at 270, so that's what 50 million over the luxury tax. So or I'm sorry, the it's not a hard cap. It's a luxury tax. So basically, anything you spend over that, I think you pay a couple million over, a certain percentage, and it goes back to the bottom teams. So it is kind of a revenue sharing. But um, like Joe Peterson, he says here, embarrassed for your fan base, then be better. If you can't sell your team to somebody that wants to show the fan base in baseball they're at least trying to compete. Sorry, unacceptable. Now I kind of agree with him on this because especially when it comes to a team like the Pirates, okay?
Mhm.
The Pirates, I mean, over the years have produced like great players, Quentin Andrew McCutcheon, who was an MVP and he had a great team around him. I think at one time they had Garrett Cole on that team.
Yep.
And
Jason Kendall too, right?
Jason Kendall. It's like you had all these players, but year after year after year, you get rid of them almost to the point where, like, you know, I believe the Pirates owner out of all of these was the one that actually said, well, it's kind of hard to make money. Um, he had I gotta see what the quote was, but he was one that actually verbally complained as an owner that they weren't making any money. And my counter to that would just be, okay, well, if you kept the team together, you'd bring fans in because one Pittsburgh, I've never been to their stadium, but every single person that I've met that has gone to the stadium is they probably said it's probably the best in baseball. So
Really?
you have that going for you. Pittsburgh's a great city. I visited Pittsburgh. It's a great city, a great fan base. I just don't see how you get away with just not investing into your talent, into your team for a city like that, you know?
Miami does it every year. But the only thing is Miami has a couple of World Series to show for it. It's just that they just get rid of all their players from that World Series the next season every time.
Right.
Get,
Now
get,
now
get best talent.
now sometimes you run it like the Orioles, like the Orioles made one of the greatest blunders by I believe paying Chris Davis almost like 20 or 30 million dollars over the course of like 10 years for one season. And I think at one point he had the record for the most consecutive outs in the history of baseball.
And he just
And
retired last year too, right? Like after
he's
all
trying
that.
he's trying to make a comeback. but his is the worst drop off I've seen since Ryan Howard. His is worse than that though.
Speaking of Ryan Howard, I don't mean to switch gears on you. Ryan Howard's fried chicken business is going to have a spot in the um, Wells Fargo. Darn, I'm struggling today. And what's the Citizens Bank Park?
I hope he doesn't make sliders because that was a pitch he couldn't swing.
Ooh,
He couldn't.
that
I'm
was good.
sorry. I'm sorry.
That was a good one.
I'm
That
sorry.
would be funny though. You got some chicken sliders. Ryan Howard can't even hit him. That would be funny. Our owner can't even hit him. There we go. They
I need,
have
I
to
need,
have sliders, right? They got to have sliders in the
I
restaurant.
need, I need to, I need to copyright that,
They'll
trademark it.
have to have sliders in the baseball restaurant in the stadium. But yeah, that disparity is that's an interesting. It's interesting that those teams, your top team, the Dodgers, 270 million, $150,000. I rounded that time.
Just round up.
159 million. I mean, 270 million, $159,000. And your bottom team spends 30 million. There's people in the league that make $30 million. Matter of fact,
That,
we were talking about somebody that makes more than the entire Orioles organization.
yep. It's Mike
Like,
Trout.
I mean, in many sports.
Right.
How can you put a product on the field that you have one player on the other side that makes more than your organization spends? Like, how can you really, as a franchise, how are you comfortable with that? Now the flip side would be, well, we don't want to spend that kind of money, and they don't have anybody probably worth spending that kind of money on in their organization, and nobody wants to play in Baltimore, Pittsburgh, or Cleveland.
Which is a shame because their stadiums are freaking phenomenal.
They are. I've been to Camden Yards. I like it. It was interesting. Unfortunately, my tickets were like right in the sun, so I was burning up the whole time. They were like right in the sun.
Did you hear about the change they made to the stadium?
Which stadium is that?
Camden Yards.
No, what did they do?
They moved left field back 15 feet.
Really?
Yeah, so you know how it traditionally just from the foul pole to foul pole it just goes straight across. They
Hmm.
actually made a curve right at the foul line, and I believe it actually comes across the warning track, and it goes back about 15 feet, and then it goes out, and then it comes back in right at about left center. So right, I think where the bullpens are. So there's this big deep gap, if you will.
15 feet. I mean, it's going to make a difference
It is.
because
It just looks weird, considering,
I have to see it. Everybody. You remember they moved the wall back in Citizens Bank Park.
they moved it back 5 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, get back a little bit. So we'll
Yeah.
see. And then of course they put added the padding on after what was his name, Jeff Rowland or something.
Aaron Rowan.
Aaron Rowan smashed his face up against the fence. I remember that. Baseball can be a dangerous sport. Y'all gotta be careful. It's also the hardest sport to play. If you want to call and argue with me about that, you can call me. All right. And the number is 669-275-0323.
Or just come
Baseball
out
is the hardest sport to play.
or just come out to a batting cage and me and Justin will throw BP against you and let us know how easy it is.
And if you hit our BP, then we'll put you on the machine that throws
If you hit
real.
our BP, if you hit our B, I'm retiring.
Let's talk a little bit about. Oh, I do want to before I go into another sport, I do want to mention the Atlanta Braves championship burger. Very interesting. The championship burger, right? So they're selling what they are saying what they're calling the World Champions Burger for $151. And for this, you get a replica championship ring, which you could probably buy for like $50 at the most, right? I mean, let's be honest. Probably less than that. They are also offering a $25,000 option that comes with a limited edition World Series championship ring, which I don't know how much a championship ring would actually cost, but that sounds interesting. How you could keep the burger. I mean, the ring itself might be, it could be worth something, right? I mean, I guess not 25,000 because you wouldn't be, they wouldn't be charging you 25 if it was worth more than that.
I need more specifics on this $25,000 option before. I need to know what, like, is there like a retirement plan? Is there interest? Like,
Oh no, no. You probably got to finance that bad boy or pay for it outright, and you just get the ring, and you could just wear the ring. Something similar to this here, something similar to that there. And
so
I
so
mean, it's just another way to make money.
so other than the ring, let's see what this burger is made of. Literally, right?
Okay,
So
what we got on there?
so for those food connoisseurs, please forgive me if I have improper enunciations. Okay, but here's the details on this World Series burger. Half pound Wagyu beef burger topped with cage free pan fried eggs, gold leaf wrapped Hudson Valley foie gras, grilled
Oh,
cold water lobster tail. I have a problem with that because isn't that an oxymoron? How can you grill somebody and how can it be grilled and cold at the same time? I have problems with that.
grill it, and then you just leave it out or put it on ice.
So why? Uh, heirloom tomato, bib lettuce, Tillamook cheddar cheese, and truffle aioli on a toasted Irish buttered brioche bun.
Now I do know the one thing, and you said you already apologized. I think the pronunciation is aioli,
Her too. So she's on the burger.
but come on, man. Like that's a whole bunch of fancy stuff to say. Yeah, we got to charge you a whole lot more for this burger.
So you know what this is. So
You can
the
get
the
that same burger at probably like Bonefish Grill for like $30,
$30 with 30 a la carte 35.50.
and you could probably get your own championship replica ring for about $20, which is about $50, and so you save yourself $101.
This was made by a millennial.
Millennials are smart. They know how to get money. They know how to make the money. 669-275-0323. Hit us up. Let us talk to us about whatever you want to talk to us about. We're going to talk about some of the issues in the NFL, of course, with their diversity. NFL has a big diversity problem, right? And I feel like they get targeted a lot because of their diversity issues. One of them things being most recently, they said that there has to be a female on the staff, basically. And it says it has to be like an offensive assistant. I don't know why it has to be an offensive assistant. I don't know. But so you have two rules for minorities in the NFL. You have the Rooney rule, which is a minority candidate has to be interviewed. And now you have this new rule, which I don't know if it has a name to it. Um, that says you have to have a woman on your staff in as a coach, as a offensive coach, or something along those lines. Somebody must be doing something in my house. I smell bleach very strong.
Uh-oh.
It's making me. It's bothering me. Sorry. um. So here you go, right there. Washington Commanders. That name is still funny to me. Um. And their female coach there. I don't know her name. Do you know her name, Miguel?
I do not.
Okay, that's bad. That's shame on us. Smack our hand. That's our fault. But how do you feel about this rule? And in comparison with the Rooney rule?
I think this one, the Rooney Rule, I think was always known to be contradictory, and with the whole incident with the coach from the Dolphins, suing the NFL because he found out from another coach that he didn't have a job and that it was all for show. I think it was already kind of known, but I think with the women with this particular rule, it's very there's a contradiction. You know what I mean? Because they're targeting women I don't want to use that word. They're
Focus.
encouraging women to apply, if you will.
Okay.
Yet they don't. The NFL doesn't seem to regard women very well with the conduct of its players. So, for instance, like we had the incident with Deshaun Watson, and even though yes, he was proven not guilty, or I shouldn't say proven not guilty. Um, there was no case brought up against him, but there's still litigation with 22 female accusers, and he got one of probably the highest paid contracts in the history of the NFL as a quarterback. Then you have the Tyreek Hill situation where he was accused and pled guilty to punching his pregnant girlfriend in her stomach.
Mm.
And Hill got sentenced to 3 years probation after his guilty plea. And then you turn around and say, "Hey, we want women to be a part of this culture." It's just a contradiction in terms, and I believe Roger Goodell at one of the league meetings, he claims that 47% of NFL fans are women, and then their chief marketing officer also said that 38% of these women fans, are quote unquote avid fans. Then you talk about the Commanders, and you have the owner who has been accused for almost 10 years now, 10, 15 years now, of everything from harassment to creating soft porn videos that featured the cheerleaders from the Washington Commanders. So again, it's the culture of not really having respect for women, but we want their dollar and we want them to be a part of our culture.
Yeah, the NFL is full of crap.
To put it mildly.
NFL is full of crap. I know this could affect any of my hiring status with the NFL if I were to ever apply for a job with the NFL, but the NFL is full of crap. You hit the nail right on the head. They really so now, like you said, they say that you have to have a woman on the staff, which I
and
have no
and
problem
and
with.
they and they have to and they have to be of ethnic or racial minority.
Woman does.
Yes, so basically a non-white female.
So if they have a white woman, then they're not up to code.
I'm just reading what it. They want a female or a member of an ethnic or racial minority as an offensive assistant.
So when they decide to see, okay, so let me ask you
Hold
this,
up,
Miguel. I'm not
no, no, no.
sure if
Let me correct that. You are correct. So it's a female. Doesn't matter. Well, a female or a member of an ethnic or racial minority. So it's kind of either or.
so. This rule is a female or a member of a minority group,
Ethnic or racial minority, right?
ethnic or racial minority. So okay, so it's not okay. So it's not what I originally thought. It has to be a woman. They have to have one woman. They have to have a female or a member of an ethnic racial minority group. That's what the rule is.
Correct. That's what they're. That's the. I don't know that it's an official rule, but that's their targeted marketing for their diversity and their inclusion.
Okay, so now that makes a little bit more sense to me. This NFL is still full of crap though, but that makes a little bit more sense to me now.
Yeah, because you have the contradiction of what happened to the coach in Miami, and then now there's a double contradiction with all the issues of abusers of women, not only by players, but not only by coaches, and now you talk about owners.
NFL is full of crap.
There you go.
NFL is full of crap. What they call it, not for long, right? The Rooney Rule itself is that rule for head coaching opportunities or just period?
Coaching period.
So so then what they're doing is they're basically wiping out the Rooney Rule
You could,
because they
yeah.
have to hire a minority.
Basically,
and so they
somebody
have
who's
to have a minority on their staff. So that means the Rooney Rule is kind of out of the way because obviously you're going to interview a minority to hire a minority.
correct.
Maybe not. It could be some nepotism, whatever the case may be. But you'll have a minority on your staff, whether it be a woman or someone from a minority group. You're going to have them on your staff. So that cancels out the Rooney Rule. That means that it technically Rooney Rule is not canceled, but if you think about it, if the Eagles let's say the Eagles need a head coach and they already have their minority on their staff, does that mean they have to interview a minority for the head coaching position?
That's how I would understand it.
So that in turn tells me, and I'm just such a cynic, that they will just interview a minority just to satisfy the rule,
Right, but
which
they've
I
been
think
doing,
the
but
Eagles did that about 3 years in a row anyway.
right, but right, and that's the whole contradiction. Like we know that that's how it's been done. We know it's a you know it's a show rule more than it is an actual
Exactly.
part of the culture.
Because I really felt like the Philadelphia Eagles did Deuce Staley dirty. I really did.
Yeah.
I know they hire. I know they. I think this second time that I think they hired. Excuse me, interviewed two minority coaches, but I always felt like Deuce was being interviewed to satisfy that rule. Because I feel like they didn't have any intentions of hiring Deuce Staley to be their coach, and that's why Deuce left.
Yeah, and I think more so because Deuce spoke his mind. You know what I mean? Which is why they kept him around. But and again, when you have that personality, that type that isn't angry, but they just assert themselves, that's a threat. I think you know a lot of owners feel threatened by that, and I think even and to kind of piggyback off of that, Pete Carroll a couple weeks ago called out the owners at an owners meeting in Florida, and
Tell
basically
us a
saying,
little bit about that.
so basically, he called out the owners in a owners meeting in Florida last week, saying the hiring of minority candidates won't improve until owners accept that there are candidates out there that are different than themselves. And allegedly, he spoke for about 10 minutes to all the GMs and the coaches in Palm Beach. Um, and this kind of came out a day after the rule came out about all 32 teams must hire a minority offensive assistant coach for the 2022 season. Um, Allegedly, somebody said that he just went off. He was saying you can do anything, but until owners get to know these candidates before the actual interviews and understand that they have to hire people who are different than them, it's not going to really change. And the counter to that is that the owners actually were verbally not happy.
With what he said,
Right.
yeah, I'm sure they're not because he told them about themselves.
Right.
Think about it. Like, so I don't know if it was this show or another show where we discussed if you're hiring somebody for your personal business, right? Of course, you're going to go through all the candidates and vent the right ones. But when you conduct yourself in certain types of circles that only have certain types of people in it, those are the people that you're going to be comfortable with running your organization because that's who you're familiar with. And
And those
until they familiarize themselves in other circles, which I mean, listen, people running their own circles and they're comfortable with who they're comfortable with. But until those guys, the owners I'm talking about, do anything like that, it's going to be the same thing.
right.
And I hate to say it like this, why would It- I'm going to what I'm about to say. I don't care if it offends people, but I'm gonna say it because I love to offend people anyway. Why would the owner fraternize with the help? You understand what I'm saying?
I think it was
Why would the master? Why would the master kick it out in the cotton field?
the owner from the either the Houston Texans or the Tennessee Titans. He actually said it at a meeting one time. You know, we can't let the inmates run the asylum.
Hmm? Right.
You
I
know, so
remember.
kind of piggybacks off of that, and it's a money game. You know, again, you have 32 teams, you have 32 owners who happen to all be white. You know, just calling it for what it is.
99% of them, absolutely.
You know, and I think it just goes back to the disparity. You know, not to get overly political, but it's in everything. You know, every aspect of leadership at the corporate level, at the university level. You know, there's still such a disparity, and I think in these situations, once we verbalize and see like this is as plain as day. If you combine all the sports all together, it's what 99% white
The players or the owners?
owners. Because the only official you know person of color who's an owner is Michael Jordan, and he's
He's
really
the
just
only one.
he's really just a majority owner, but not.
He's the only one, really?
I believe so.
Wow, I'm just thinking about baseball. I can't think of any in
And I'm
baseball.
talking about owner. I mean, there are some that are like high level executives,
Right,
but
right. But you're talking about ownership, and I'm thinking
ownership,
like I
full
can't
fledged,
baseball. I'm sure baseball does. I'm almost positive baseball doesn't have any.
and I
Hockey,
think
almost positive hockey doesn't have any.
no, right, and
Football, we know doesn't have any.
right, and
They
Derek
gave
Jeter
one
was
person of West Indian descent. I believe that's what they. I don't remember exactly, but
say that again.
I think football has one owner of like West Indian descent. I believe
Jacksonville. No, 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 no. Yeah, I think it's
Carolina.
Jacksonville.
Is it Jacksonville?
It's either Jacksonville or because he has a really funny mustache. It looks weird.
But that's amazing because I didn't even realize that the disparity was like. There's got to be another one in basketball, right?
You
Is Mike the only one?
you would think, but and I'll develop a list of all the owners, and I think we can probably count on one hand.
That's amazing.
But now is that a combination of like you remember the video we showed of that Ted Koppel interview with Al Campanis from like 1987,
Yes.
and the first thing that he talked about was because Ted Koppel asked the question, why are there no black managers in baseball? The first thing he said, well, they're comfortable, like they're comfortable in what they're doing, so they don't really have a desire for it. And then when pressed further, then he said out loud, they lack the necessities.
Yes. You did
And
say
then
that.
he doubled down and threw it back at him. Well, you don't have any black owners or executives in your field. And he said, you're right, because we have the white executives that don't want to share with people that they feel are beneath them. So I was, that's the truth of it on both ends. You
Wow.
know, um,
That that is amazing to me. I didn't even realize like Michael Jordan was like the one black one of the two minority owners of in professional sports. There's a lot of minority owners, and I don't mean minority as a people. I'm talking about minority as a smaller share of the team. Will Smith is a minority owner of the Sixers. I guess I shouldn't say that name right now. They dragging him through the mud. Um, I believe there's some other ones too. I think Kevin Durant owns a piece of the Philadelphia Union. There's stuff like that, but that's amazing. Football has a diversity problem, and we'll see what happens. There's other football leagues popping up, and I think flag football is going to get a lot more popular too. Uh, crazy as it sounds. I think flag football is going to get really popular very soon, especially when you have some of the former athletes playing and you have some athletes from other sports that will also play. People are going to watch that type stuff, just like some people watch the Big Three basketball, and Big Three, or excuse me, 3-on-3 basketball is becoming popular, even to the point where there's a it's an Olympic sport now, as we saw last summer. Summer of 2021, we saw there was a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, I believe, with the college basketball that they showed on TV. So there's going to be other options, and I guess the NFL better get it together and figure some things out because they are struggling in that department. I wanted one more thing, football wise, and then we're going to ask a question about coaching. But football wise, and this is for my Eagles fans out there, are the Eagles fans are buying or selling Jalen Hurts? Miguel, what do you say?
I think that they're playing both ends of the spectrum. I think they got burnt by Wentz, and I think they're playing both. They want to play. They believe sort of in Hurts. They're not convinced on him yet, but they want to be prepared, which is why they made the trade this week, trading their 15th and 16th pick to the Saints and getting the 18th pick.
They traded the 15th and the 16th pick.
Yeah, and then they're getting the 18th pick this year, and then they're getting New Orleans Saints #1 next
I
year.
thought they traded. Okay, I thought something totally different. I thought they traded like one of those picks and then traded, two later round picks. That's what I thought. I mean, I could, and I don't know. I didn't pay close attention to it, but I didn't realize they traded two of their three picks in the first round this year, which is crazy. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but
no, no. Let me get. So the Saints get the 16th and the 19th and their 194th pick, and then the Eagles get the 18th, the 101st, and 232nd pick, and
the
New
first
Orleans first round pick in 23 and their second round in 24.
I don't. I mean, the trade. So here's why I don't like the trade. I think the trade is okay, but here's why I don't like the trade, and it's all personal. You can't excite us about three first round picks for a whole year and then trade two of them away. Like I mean, let's be honest. They traded two picks, two first round. They traded two first round picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
A 16 and a 19.
16 and 19.
They're getting back at 18. So I believe if I looked at the thing correctly when I saw it, they basically traded three picks for worse picks in this draft. So what they really got back was a next year first and the following year second.
Well, they still got 18. So you got this year's first round plus next year's first round, and then the year after that, the second round. Because pretty much
We
in
still got
football,
first. We still got two in the first.
no, we
We had
have we had two first this year.
we had three.
No, we had two.
We had three this year. We had our own. Then we had the Colts pick, and then we
Right.
had another. We had three first round picks this year. That's why I was saying they traded two out of the three first round picks. Because
You're
remember,
right.
they
I'm
were
sorry.
excited about having three first round picks for like a whole year. Like, wow, what are we going to do with that?
You're right.
So
I apologize. You are
the
correct.
I feel like we traded, like we kind of traded back.
So that means we have two first round picks this year.
We still have two first round picks, so we got one back from New Orleans. So we went from having three first rounds to two first rounds.
You know what though? I'm still okay with that because here's the thing.
I'm okay with the trade. I'm just not okay with the fact that I was excited about three first round picks.
but you know why that had to happen, right? So he held on. How he held on to the first three round picks because of what?
You said because of what?
Because of what? Why did he hold on to those picks? Why did he wait so long to make this trade?
You tell me, school me on this one.
Well, he was waiting to see what happened with Deshaun Watson. He found out he didn't want to come here. Okay. He was still trying to make trades for other quarterbacks. They all came off the table because who are you going to get now? You're gonna trade him for what? Baker Mayfield? You know. So
Yeah,
all of the best possible options at quarterback are off the table.
hmm
I'm sure he was trying to work out trades for a wide receiver. So
I would have liked that.
the other thing is, and this is another tell, is that the quarterback class this year is weak. Next year is going to be a hell of a lot stronger.
Supposed to be strong, right?
Supposed to be stronger. So here's the setup, which you may not like it, but it's a smart move.
Oh
You
no, no,
give
no. I don't disagree with the trade. We still have 2 out of 3 first round picks.
right,
So I'm okay, and we have an additional first round pick for next year, which, let's be honest, we know Howie's going to probably trade that pick too.
right. But here's the thing: he'll be able to do more damage next year,
Right.
whether he uses the pick on a new quarterback coming out or in another trade, because there's still, and we got to look at free agency. We got to see where that's going to be at next year as well. Um, but I think once Deshaun Watson, the situation, I think he was holding all the picks to try to get, and I believe he did offer that, but he declined the no trade to come to Philly, and surprised the world by going to Cleveland. But when you think about that, he's going to Cleveland to try to repair his reputation, and what better area to not have too much attention on you than the city of Cleveland. So
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah, no. Yeah, yeah. Hold on. Let me try to think of another city. Carolina.
Detroit, I mean, take your
Detroit.
pick.
Nobody wants to go to Detroit and play
Right.
football there. That's no. Nobody wants to play football there. But Carolina, maybe.
And it came down to what? It came down to New Orleans, Carolina, Atlanta, and Cleveland.
I wonder why Seattle wasn't on the table. Seattle needs a quarterback.
They sure do. But I think it's a West Coast thing. I think because of the drama of them trading. Um,
Russell Wilson.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because of the drama of trading Wilson, he's going to have that extra pressure of not only replacing Wilson, but then also that the other drama with the personal stuff. You go to Cleveland. I mean, it's Baker Mayfield, so it's not as much drama because I think Mayfield is playing himself out of Cleveland.
Mhm.
Um, I think he just wanted to avoid the coasts. He didn't want to touch any East Coast, West Coast. Wasn't trying to go, any of that stuff. So, um, which I think from a PR standpoint, may be a smart move for him. It'll give him a chance to clear his name as he so desires, and take some stress off him.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I hope it works out for that young man, especially since I used to say he was my cousin, and now I'm like embarrassed to say that I used to say he was my cousin because he's been accused of some heinous things. Um, but I want to move on because man, show went quick. You posed a good question, and it's especially for the coaches out there, and it's a baseball question, but I'm going to make it a universal coaching question. So your question is: does paying thousands of dollars justify apparent behavior towards coaches and umpires? And I'm going to say does paying thousands of dollars justify parents' behavior towards coaches and any officials, referees, umpires, whatever the case may be? Of course, I'm gonna say no. No, it
Mhm.
does not. You paid thousands of dollars to have your kid play and trained by the people that you're paying. Has nothing to do with the umpires, right? Your $1,000 has nothing to do with the umpires and how they make calls. Now, if you want to get on your coach's case because you don't feel like they're doing your child the right way, that's one thing. You've kind of paid for that, but you can't. But doing it in the middle of a game, like we've seen that happen before, that's out of pocket. That's like going up on the Oscar stage and slapping somebody in the face. That's just out of pocket. Um, that happened too, didn't it? Yeah, that
Fairly recently.
but the umpires, as crazy as it seems for me to say, should be off limits to parents.
Yeah, and I posed that question because there's an umpire shortage. You know,
There
it's like
is
which
nationally. There's
nationally, right?
a umpire shortage.
You know, but I also posed the question because when you and I were coaching at the organization that you're at now and the prior version of it, there was a rule. Parents had to agree that they would not contact coaches or the program until 24 hours after a game or a tournament, which I completely agree with. But I just feel like since we started coaching at the academy level, or whatever you want to call it, it just seems like parents feel as though, yes, they have a say, you know but what they're paying for, I think, is being misconstrued, and I think it's also their learning curve. For any parents that are listening out, watching us now, it's not about wins and losses, it's about development and being able to see some sort of progress over the course of time. And I think, when you look at it from the grand scheme of things, you have to evaluate from game one to the last game of that season. I think they believe that it's supposed to be after every game, and it's not. Because there's certain things, like you and I have coached, that we know they're not going to get right away, but we have to see, okay, where's he at 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now? You know what I mean? It's like parents don't know how to set benchmarks. It's just like when parents are yelling at their player or yelling at their son, and they're yelling at the wrong thing. you know they're loud and wrong, and they just, come on, Billy, we wanted to see you hit a touchdown. It's like, why are you talking? You embarrassed all the people that you're sitting around, and then you embarrass your child.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Those situations are kind of funny when they have no idea.
right.
One other thing that I believe, like I feel like 90% of parents have an inflated concept of how good their child is. 90%. You'll come across a few that's like, look, my kid just ain't that good.
Right.
Um, I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm friends with coaches at the school where I coach, and they have had parents come up to them and was like, yeah, my kid is just really not that good, and I know it. You know what I mean? Um, and that's while unnecessary to
Mhm.
say that, it's kind of appreciated because it kind of takes the pressure off of a coach, because if they're just not that good, and athletics is not for everybody,
Mhm.
but if they're just not that good, it's good to know that the parent understands that they're not that good, and I'm sure the parent is expecting progress,
Mhm.
but they shouldn't be expect like some kids are not that good and their parents are expecting them to get a scholarship because
Right.
they're paying money for the training,
Right.
and it's not going to happen, right? It's just
Right.
not. Um, we have I've personally had guys that have played for me tell me that they wanted to play baseball at like Texas, uh, Arizona, Florida State, whatever the case may be. Um, but we know that, you know, that talent at Texas, at Florida State, at Miami, that talent is far and above a majority of the talent that we even see in our area.
Right.
Like, it's very rare to find that type of talent in this sport in our area. It's just rare.
Mhm.
Because of course those places that mentioned, Texas, Miami, Arizona, Nevada, California, they can play all year round. We can't. That's
Right.
why you see a lot better. You see more basketball players and football players come from this area than baseball players,
Mhm.
and it just is what it is. But I want to get to the best part of the show. It's the part of the show where Miguel stumps me, and it's also the part of the show where I might be able to stump him. He struggled last week with it.
I
So
did.
I'm just going to pick a random card. Okay, I'm
Pick
not
a
even going to
card.
let you the category, the sport, or anything.
I'm going to guess four of clovers.
Clovers. Okay, and I'm hanging up the phone lines, so the phone lines are now closed. Sorry for those that we didn't get to in the moment, but it's all good. We still love you. Don't take it personal. All right, so here we go. Two-time All-Star, four-time Gold Glove, two-time World Series champion. Padres, Phillies, Rays, Guardians. I don't know. I can't really tell who those things. Is that the Astros or is that the Padres? That first one.
First one is Padres.
Padres, Phillies, Rays.
Dodgers.
The Rays. That's the
No,
Dodgers. Okay.
Dodgers.
Dodgers. Who are those last two?
Baston and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
All right, give me the I need two things. I need the position and I need the years active.
Years active is 2003 to about 2015.
They're out of the game already.
Correct.
Shane
And
Victorino. You got darn right.
the
You
Flying Hawaiian.
right. Shane Victorino, baby. Chap what is it? What was he? A title 9, chapter 8? What was he?
A Rule 5
Rule 5. I was
He's,
close.
he, he was a Chapter 11 player. He filed for Chapter 7 free
Rule
agency.
5. I knew it was something. All right,
You
so
mixed up all these federal laws.
so I can I got your category is football.
Okay.
Do you want a 1 point, 2 point, or 3 point question?
Harold Carmichael.
Damn, you good. But wrong.
Let's go.
1 point, 2 point, or 3 point question. I got two sides of questions. They're both one
What's
point,
the
2 point.
answer? Okay. Let's go 3.
3 point question football. Here we go. Oh, you're not going to get this. If you get this, I'm going to be impressed because I definitely wouldn't get this. And this is something that nobody pays attention to.
What's the era?
1994.
Okay.
I didn't even give you the question yet.
But you gave me part of the answer, so go ahead.
Well, the answer's in the question. So here you go. Which Cleveland Browns punter
Oh, Jesus.
scored the very first 2 point conversion in NFL history on September 4th, 1994? It's a multiple choice. So here you go. Ray Guy, Tom Tupa, Reggie Roby, Jeff Fiegels. This is going to be a complete guess. I already know.
Tom Tupa?
Damn, that was good. That's right. Tom Tupa. That was right. That was a guess?
It was either him or not Reggie Roby. Who was the other one?
Ray Guy?
Yeah, I was thinking of those two because I knew one of them played for Cleveland. I just didn't know at what point. Because I think Ray Guy was a punter for the Dolphins for a long time.
I believe you're right with that one. That was
But
good. Good job by you. I thought I had you.
almost.
Thought I had you. By the way, nice shirt.
Thanks. A
Nice.
friend of mine got it for me for Christmas.
Well, since neither of us stumped each other, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here because that's what we do. We appreciate y'all for checking out the Check Swing podcast once again here on New Twist Radio. You can email us at checkswingpc@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram at Check Swing Show. It's Check Swing Show, right? Check Swing Show on Instagram and Twitter, like I just said. Also follow the station, New Twist Radio, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And those watching us on Twitch, go ahead and make sure you friend us on Twitch too. We appreciate you, and share us too. Let people know that we're around. All right. With all that being said, for Miguel and myself, we're gonna get up out of here. We appreciate y'all checking us out, and we'll talk to y'all next time on the Check Swing Podcast. Peace.